They used to call him Jide, the sky's own son. Not as a joke. Jide grew up with everything. His father, Chief Olamide, controlled shipping routes across oceans. His signature moved containers from one end of the world to the other. His mother, Madame Sadi, was a minister of God, a woman of prayer, of tradition, of deep ancestral wisdom. Money was normal. Privilege was air. While other children learned survival, Jide learned confidence. And that confidence, slowly, quietly, turned into pride. At 21, Jide wasn't just brilliant. He was dangerously brilliant. People said, this one was born for the sky. What they didn't know was that the ground was already waiting for him. His father was proud, very proud, especially because Jide was already involved in his business empire. Jide had money, connections, a future already prepared. And slowly, quietly, he developed one weakness. Betting. The betting started small. At first, it looked harmless. Just numbers. Just calculations. Just testing his intelligence. Jide didn't bet because he needed money. He bet because he needed to win. He needed to prove that his brain could defeat chance itself. Each win fed him. Each loss only made him bolder. And every night, Madame Sadi watched her son stare into his phone like it was a shrine. A mother knows. She noticed the restlessness, the confidence, slowly turning into arrogance. The way Jide stopped listening. She warned him gently, "My son, rest." He smiled. "Mama, relax." But the betting grew daring. Bigger numbers. Private groups. Elite circles. One night, the Olamide mansion was alive. A lavish party. Business partners in tailored suits. Crystal glasses clinking. Chief Olamide raised his glass proudly. "My son," he announced, "has been accepted into one of the most elite aviation academies in Europe." Applause shook the walls. But while the world toasted Jide's future, Jide was on his phone, betting, thumb tapping, eyes glowing. He didn't even look up. That night, while the mansion slept, Madame Sadi didn't. Before dawn, she was already in her prayer room. Simple white wrapper, bare floor, trembling hands. She had dreamed. And the dream was not gentle. She saw her son as a mighty Iroko tree. Tall, proud. But inside the tree, something was eating it. A worm. Made of gold. Made of pride. She saw the sky turn heavy like iron. She saw wings. Beautiful wings. Melt like wax in fire. In African tradition, a mother's dream is not a movie. It is a message. Her heart pounded. She went straight to Jide's room. She knocked. "Jide, my son." Her voice shook. She sat on his bed. "Stop." He sighed. "Mom, stop what?" She held his hand. "I had a dream. The bird I saw last night had no feathers. It had the face of a man you once wronged. This betting, this greed, it is a trap set where your books cannot see." She begged, "For the sake of my milk, stop." Jide pulled his hand away. "Mother," he laughed, "your dreams are for the village. In this city, we use data. I'm not betting on luck. I'm betting on my brain." And he walked away. Madame Sadi fell to her knees and prayed. That was warning one. One day, Jide heard of a new game. Exclusive. Elite. Only for the rich and powerful. They called it the Shadow of Power. The winner would be revered forever. Jide didn't hesitate. That night, he drove his luxury sports car into a hidden part of the city. Narrow roads, old buildings, silence thick like danger. He stopped before a heavy iron gate. This place was called the Den of Shadows. Fortunes were born here, and fortunes were buried here. At the gate stood an old man. They say he had seen 1,000 smart boys fall. He didn't look at Jide's car. He looked at his shadow. "Young eagle," the man said softly, "why are you in such a hurry to reach the ground? The sky you want to fly in is full of storms. Turn back." Jide laughed. "Old man, keep your proverbs. I have a meeting with smart minds. If you're so wise, why are you guarding a gate while I drive a machine worth more than your village?" He pushed the man's staff aside and rushed inside. Alas, warning too fell on deaf ears. Inside, the air smelled of desperation, masked by expensive cologne. Red lights pulsed. Men in tailored suits and expensive agbada sat around a glowing table. In the corner sat a man with a calm smile. Tai. Jide didn't notice him. He was playing, bet after bet, until the date for the master bet was announced. The fateful day Jide was waiting for finally came. The night of the grand finale. The night he planned to show the world how intelligent he was. Heavy rain fell, as if heaven was weeping for what would befall him. Madame Sadi felt it in her bones. She ran outside, barefoot, wrapper loose, rain soaking her dress. She threw herself in front of Jide's car. Mud swallowed her knees. "Jide, if you drive past me, you are driving over my soul. This game will swallow our name. I beg you by my breasts, that fed you, come back." In African culture, when a mother lies in the dust for her child, it is sacred. But Jide didn't see love. He saw embarrassment. He swerved, splashing dirty water all over her, and drove away. That splash was louder than thunder. Alas, Jide ignored his final warning. Indeed, the rabbit that runs out when the bush is on fire shall be roasted by the fire. Tonight, the boy who thought he was a god would learn the price of a mother's tears. Inside the Den of Shadows, only two remained. Jide and Tai. They were told, "The master bet begins tonight. This bet is not with money. Bet the one thing more valuable than life." Jide smiled. He linked his father's corporate shipping account. 5 minutes, he told himself. He'll never know. The reward for the risk? Richest young man in Africa. A pride to begin his aviation journey with. The countdown began. Jide was winning. Or so he thought. Until the screen froze. Transaction completed. The club didn't explode. No shouting. No chaos. Just silence. The kind of silence that presses on your ears and makes your chest feel heavy. Jide stared at the screen. Still hoping. Still waiting. Waiting for the numbers
to reverse themselves,
like they always did. But the screen stayed dead.
Cold. Finished.
That's when his knees gave up on him. One moment, he sat like a king. The next moment, he slid down, right there, on the cold floor of the Den of Shadows. The same floor that didn't care who your father was. Jide dropped. The Olamide Empire had vanished. Tai stood up. You didn't find a flaw,
he said coldly.
I gave you one. Then he stepped into the light, and Jide recognized him. Tai, Jide cried. Did you do this? Tai spoke. You thought you were so good with numbers, so intelligent. Yet you couldn't even detect the man you once wronged. 5 years ago, at an elite academy, Jide was the golden boy. Tai was the scholarship boy.
Poor,
but brilliant. And Jide hated that. He mocked him, humiliated him, called him farmer's son. One day, an expensive chemistry laboratory equipment went missing. Jide planted it in Tai's locker. He spread lies and testified falsely, and even arranged for his friends to beat Tai up. Tai begged, but no one listened to a scholarship boy from a poor background. Tai was unjustly expelled, his family disgraced. And Jide's last words to him were, beggar boys don't belong here. Now 5 years later, Jide fell into the trap Tai have carefully planned. Jide cried. He crawled. Yes, he crawled toward Tai, the boy who once walked through marble halls without greeting anyone, dragged himself on his knees, his expensive jacket soaked with sweat. His hands trembled like a child's. Tai, please. That word tasted strange. He hadn't used it in years. I beg you. Please. Men watched. The same men who once toasted his brilliance, now silent, enjoying the fall. Jide pressed his forehead to the floor. No pride. No ego. Only fear. Name it, he cried. Anything. I'll do anything. I'll sell myself. I'll work for you. I'll kneel every day. Please. Return my father's assets. Return his shares. Don't destroy him because of me. For the first time, Jide wasn't talking about his brain, he was talking
about loss.
Tai laughed. Not loud. Not wild. A dry laugh. The kind that comes from a place that has already healed and hardened. A place of betrayal. A broken system. A system that protects those already protected. You still don't get it, Tai said calmly. You're begging now because you're bleeding. But when I bled, you called me weak. Do you remember what you told me? Beggar boys don't belong here. You asked me to name anything. I will. Go back to that elite high school. The same one that expelled me without question. Stand before the students, the teachers, the board, and tell them the truth. Tell them you planted the theft. Tell them I was innocent. Clear my name. Jide froze. Not because it was impossible, but because it meant public shame. The thing he feared most. Tai turned and walked away. Jide didn't move. He curled on the floor,
crying.
Not loudly,
but deeply.
The kind of crying that comes when there's nothing left to protect. The next day, soldiers stood at the Olamide gates. Property seized. Chief Olamide collapsed. Jide was pushed into the mud, the same mud his mother had knelt in. Jide visited his father at the hospital, Machines beeping. A heart asking permission to continue. Chief Olamide lay there. Tubes everywhere. Alive only because a machine allowed it. Jide held his father's hand.
Cold.
That broke him. Daddy, I'm sorry. No response. Days later, Chief Olamide died. Disobedience, arrogance, and pride. These three cost Jide his father, cost him his mother, who retired to the village, and his dream of being a pilot. Today, Jide is still begging in the city. The sky's own sun met the ground. For Tayi, even though he planned his revenge for years, felt sorry for Jide for the life of his father. But our elders do say, a frog that do not teach his child how to breath on land shall soon meet the carcass of his child when the lake dried up.